Hello, everybody. Hello, my friends and colleagues in HR and in the coaching world. I have a special announcement. You probably have heard of this already, but I'm absolutely thrilled to invite you to join in a webinar that I am doing come January. January 15th is the exact date. I did this webinar in October, and it went over really, really well. And what we're going to talk about in the webinar is the revolutionary coaching technique called coaching with appreciative inquiry. And what that's all about is it's basically a methodology to assist you as the coach or HR professional in helping people get beyond negative thinking. So there are 5 stages in this process, and with each of those 5 stages comes a set of questions. And I will give you those questions and explain the 5 phases in the 90-minute webinar so that you can go back to your job and you can use those questions with people that are very negative, or even just talking to make a point, a positive point. Try to turn meetings around, try to turn conversations around that are kind of going downhill. I'll tell you a little bit about this course. The entire methodology of appreciative inquiry was actually thought up by a brilliant researcher named David Cooperrider. Now, without talking a great length about his history, he was a graduate student at Case Western University, and he was doing some research in the Cleveland Clinic. And what he discovered was that they had a lot of consultants coming in talking about how to fix the problems at the Cleveland Clinic without focusing on the things that the Cleveland Clinic was already doing correctly or right, or other things that the hospital was providing really good service to its customers. So they were not focusing on what they did well, they were focusing on all the various problems. So it's a method of turning all of that around and getting away from the idea of fixing something and more into the idea of appreciating what already exists and how can we apply those things that are really good about our behavior or about something that's going on in the workplace to making some real change in the organization. So you take what's already working and you apply those same principles, whatever they may be, to a change that you want to make. So it's kind of a little bit of a sophisticated change management technique. And I took an entire 40-hour course on this, so I ended up being a certified appreciative inquiry practitioner. And what I really like to do is to help my colleagues in being able to use at least some of these techniques in their daily lives. As part of the webinar, you will walk away with an actual script that I learned in the class. Also, when you're working with individual clients, I have a set of goal-setting questions, which may sound like old hat, but it's not a bad idea to kind of integrate some new things into what you're doing already. And also I have case studies, which I'd love to share with you. There was a case study that I wrote myself, and then there are other case studies that were done actually by my instructor. She worked with a couple of Jewish temples to get their congregation all on the same page. I guess there was a lot of dissension among the congregants, and the rabbi came to her knowing what her background was and asked her to sort of work with him and the congregation to get things back on track. So it works both on an individual client basis as well as a large organization basis. And it was actually first implemented at GTE when GTE was laying off 17,000 people. What was happening, and I'll go into more of this on the webinar, but what was happening is that the people that got laid off were out trashing the company. It's kind of like what GM is going through right now. So they're laying off 14,000 people and people are trashing the company. Now, what's happening inside the company? What's happening inside the company is that the morale is beginning to really sink. So how do you deal with those employees that were left behind? They don't know when the shoe is going to drop on them. And also maybe they had some really close friends or longtime coworkers that are now gone. And everybody's wondering who's going to handle all the work now that these people are gone, and what's going to happen when we ramp up again, and should I stay here? So those are the kinds of questions and quandaries that people have in a large organization, any large organization, when there's a major change, any kind of merger, acquisition, layoff, sell off, anything like that. The employees that are left still in the company always have quandaries about where they go next. And I'm sure that you've experienced this in your lives, as I have, where I sat in a cubicle and watched other people pack up their boxes, turn in their badges, and be escorted out. And that was a very sad day. I've seen that happen twice already. Once at General Electric when I worked there back in the 80s and 90s, and once when I worked at Raytheon in the mid-2000s. So that was a little bit of a scary situation for everybody who was left behind. And we didn't get any help. It was kind of like, just buck up and figure it out, guys. And everyone was scrambling to keep their performance at a high level because nobody knew what was going to happen next. But overall, when things like that happen in a big organization, people really become disconnected. You have a lot of turnover, your productivity goes down, the morale goes down, and there's a lot of negative consequences. So when you use appreciative inquiry in your business or as an HR professional, you will find that you can turn that situation around and encourage people to stay engaged, and also encourage people, if they think they're on their way out, help them figure out what their next steps are. Are they going to retire? Are they going to take disability leave? There's so many different options, but you can help them using these techniques. And I use them every single day in my practice because I deal with a lot of people that are unhappy and are ready to quit and are looking for that next step. So I help them cope with the particular situation that they're in, and I help them move forward. And using the technique of appreciative inquiry has been extremely helpful in my business and in my coaching practice. And also when I get a consultation as an HR professional to help people turn around, turn a negative attitude back around. So with all that said, there is a link, and I'm going to include it with this video. There's a link for you to go and register. It's January 15th. If you're an HR professional or a coaching professional, there is a promo code. It's capital P, capital R, capital O, 19, and you will get 10% off your ticket price, depending on when you buy the ticket. If you buy your ticket late, you'll get more off than you would if you bought your ticket today. But we do have early bird tickets out there right now, so you might want to take advantage of that. And I think those go through early January. So I will wrap this up by letting you know it's on Eventbrite, and I will include the link, and I hope to see all of you on the webinar on January 15th. And if you have any questions, please just leave me some comments or direct message me. So I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone, and as I said, please let me know if you have interest or if you have questions. That's all for now. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk real soon. Bye now.